Alright, you guys, let's get it started. Need to jump on over to the Discord, let everyone know that we are live. Send out a few notifications. Nova's over here yawning. Alright, what else we gotta do? We gotta pull up the comments. We gotta pull up comments. It's gonna be pitch black in here for a second, guys. Let me see. Comments, comments, comments. We got comments pulled up. There we go. All right. I believe that is everything. I believe that is everything. What is up, everybody? Mike, what's going on, dude? Having a good day today, Mike. What's up? What's up? uh, Sanchez, what's up, dude? Welcome, 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 welcome. So last time we were live, we did an excellent stream. If any of you missed it, I highly recommend you check it out. It's the one where we talked about here. Let's see exactly what was the name of that stream. Like exactly, letting the fire burn out or something, right? I think that was the last stream we did. Excellent stream. If you missed it, I highly recommend it. Today is gonna kinda follow up with that stream, kinda, but not really. We're gonna be putting it a whole new way. So today we're going to be talking about accepting attitude. It doesn't feel like it's working. This is a big one. This is a big one for a lot of people. This is probably the number one reason why people fall off the wagon. Honestly, this is probably like the number one reason people fall off the wagon because it doesn't feel like it's working. So within a day or two, or an hour or two, or sometimes even less, they go straight back into the bad habits of mentally fighting with it all because it doesn't feel like it's working in the moment. So this is a big one. This is a big one. This is a big one. Back again. How's it going, everyone? What's up, Eclipse? Glad to see you. Persistent distance. Oh, anyone experienced with PPPPD? PPPPD. I might have to look that one up. Nerd, what's up, nerd? PJ, what's up, PJ? Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome. We're going to give it a few minutes, and then we're going to get started. We're going to give it a few minutes, and then we're going to get started. You know what I wanted to start doing? What I wanted to start doing, I know we've got the slides, but hold up. I wanted to start doing something like this. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about in just a second. So, I wanted to make it even more simple on everybody that can't watch us live and they have to catch the streams after the fact. I want to make it even more simple for those people. So, what I'm going to start doing, even though this doesn't really fit in anywhere right here, even though this doesn't really fit in anywhere, we're going to cram it up here. So what I want to start doing to make it as easy as for the people who can't watch us live as possible is start putting this. If you see this, if you see the starting soon, you can skip past that. Like if you don't want to watch that, if you can't watch us live, you got to watch in the future, and you don't want to watch just our our chat and stuff. If you see this, you can skip past that, right? You can skip past that. So that's what I want to start doing, just so everybody gets familiar with that. You can't watch us live, gotta watch in the future. If you see this, just skip past it if you don't want to hear this part. Totally up to you if you want to jump right to the point of the stream. I fought it all day. Fought it all day. Oof, that is not good. We do not want to be fighting anything, right? We do not want to be fighting anything all day. No fighting. No fighting. We got to change that attitude to an attitude of acceptance. We've got to change that attitude to an attitude of acceptance. You got to catch yourself when you are mentally trying to fight your way out of anxiety. Because, spoiler alert, you cannot fight your way out of anxiety. It's not possible. All you're working with is gas. You're not working with water. So all that fighting that you're doing mentally with all these thoughts and feelings, you think that you're working with water to put this fire out. You're not actually working with water. You're working with gas. And that's exactly what we talked about in the Let It Burn Out stream, which again, if you haven't seen, I highly recommend it. Hi, Wonder Bro and everyone. Been a long time. What's up, Mia? Welcome, welcome. All right, guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started because we're almost 5 minutes into this thing. So, what happens? Boom. It disappears. So, again, if you don't see that, you're right on time for the main point of the stream. If you do see that, you can skip past it if you want to. Let's see. All right, guys. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and get into it, and then I'll try to catch up with comments afterwards. So, anxiety recovery, accepting attitude. It doesn't feel like it's working. Now, this is the biggest, like I said, this is the biggest downfall, probably the number one downfall of anybody who goes on the accepting journey, who goes on the, recovery journey. Is, okay, that biggest downfall is that it doesn't feel like it's working in the moment. So let me give you an example. You come on, you watch a video, you watch a stream, and you think, okay, this sounds great, right? I need to change to an accepting attitude. What is a accepting attitude, right? Live my life, and while these thoughts and feelings are there, if I notice myself mentally fighting with it all, which is saying things to yourself like, oh gosh, here it is, I can't handle this, I don't want this, or trying to fight with the details of the negative thoughts, like blah 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 blah, let me obsess for an hour on why this won't happen, blah 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 blah. The mental fight is the mental fight. But here's what happens. So people learn about the advice. Okay, live my life. Don't mentally fight with all these thoughts and feelings, right? Okay, fair enough. And they get, you know, they get this certain sense of excitement. They're like, okay, yeah, this is nice. This is good. I finally figured something out here that might work for me, and they get started and they get started. But here's what happens, and here's where they fall short. Within an hour or two of doing this, it doesn't feel like it's working, right? Every negative thought that's come, they've just told themselves, I accept it, I accept these feelings. They did their best to get back to living, but within an hour, it doesn't feel like it's working, or within a day, it doesn't feel like it's working completely, right? Or within, whatever time frame, doesn't feel like it's working the way they want it to, right? So then they fall right back in to the trap. They fall right back in to the second fear, second fear, second fear, right? They fall right back into the fight, fight, fight. And I'm here to tell you now that this is a cycle that I stayed in for a long time, but I'm here to tell you whether you like it or not, this is the cycle that you're in, and it's a cycle that you will continue to be in until you get dedicated, right? Until you get dedicated. Now, I was stuck in this cycle, like I said, for a very long time. One way or another, you're going to pull through this. But understand something. If you continue to fall for that trap, if you continue to fall for the, oh, I've been working on my accepting attitude, but it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like it's working. I'm just going to go right back to the same old bad habits. Well, then there's nothing I or anybody else can do for you. Trust me, I was there. I read all the books. I watched all the videos. I did all the research. I could tell you anything and everything about anxiety. But as long as I kept falling for that trap of this doesn't feel like it's working, and then I fall right back into the obsession, right back into the Google, right back into trying to figure it all out, right back into the fighting attitude. Guess what? That just kept going. It was a cycle, a cycle, a cycle. So understand something. While you're in the process of changing to an accepting attitude, while you're in the process of no longer fighting with these thoughts and feelings, and instead reminding yourself every single time that you accept them, it's not going to feel like it's 100% working in the moment, right? But if you take that as a sign and then fall back into the bad habits, you're just going to keep going like this. You're just going to keep going like this. You're just going to keep going like this, right? Trust me. Been there. Done that. If you learn about acceptance, right, and you can read all the Dr. Claire Weeks books in the world that you want to read, you can watch all the videos that you want to watch, but once you learn about acceptance, once you learn about getting on with your life, living your life, and allowing yourself to be triggered by thoughts and feelings, with no longer fighting with them, once you learn about that, let's say you've adopted the mantra, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Thanks for coming. Let's say that's your go-to and you start implementing that. Once you learn about all this stuff, you got to stay on board with it. It's not a matter of, oh, it doesn't feel like it's working, so I'm going to fall right back into the same bad habits that got me here in the first place. Duh. You're not going to get very far, right? And I wish I could go back in time and slap myself in the face and be like, you know what? Duh, you're not going to get very far. You're just doing the same shit that got you here in the first place, right? Now, that's such a common pitfall. It's such a common pitfall for it to not feel like it's working in the moment. It probably won't feel like it's working in the moment, but that's why we went over the whole letting the fire burn out thing, right? That's why we went over the whole letting the fire burn out thing. Because if you stop adding gas to a fire does not immediately burn out. It takes time for the fire to burn out, even though you've stopped adding gas, right? And that's exactly why we did that entire stream, to try to put this into an easy to understand analogy for you guys so that you don't fall for the same trap that I fell for many, many times, which was oh, this accepting thing doesn't feel like it's working. This fire is still burning. I guess I'll go right back into the same old bad habits, the same old negative mental attitude towards the thoughts and feelings, trying to fight with the thoughts and feelings rather than just quickly reminding myself, you know what? Thanks for coming, thoughts and feelings, right back into living my life. Rinse and repeat as many times as need be, right? So it's such a common pitfall that I see people falling into. They give the whole acceptance thing a try for an hour. They give the whole acceptance thing a try for a day, a week, or however long, and they're still having some ups and downs, or they're not making quite the progress that they wanted to be making, or maybe it just didn't live up to the expectations that they gave themselves when they started, right? Whatever the case may be, and then we see people fall right back into the same old bad habits that put them in the sensitized boat to begin with. It is such a common thing that I see happen all the time. And that's why, that's why we did the whole letting the fire burn out stream. That's why we're doing this stream now, because it is so crucial and it is so important to your recovery that if you're going to dedicate to, what we call the two main keys, living your life, and each time you catch yourself mentally fighting with these thoughts and feelings, taking a step back and saying something like, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Thank you for coming. I'm going right back to living. Keeping that attitude, if you're going to dedicate to that, you have to understand that it might not live up to your expectations within a day, right? It might not live up to your expectations within a day. And you might hear Nova playing with her toy, her squeaky toy. I apologize. But this thing might not live up to your expectations. Not right away. Not right away. It may take time. Don't fall for that and fall right back into the same old bad habits that got you there to begin with. Right? I see it happen all the time. This thing takes time. Look at this. I finally got it. I've been trying to get it and she wouldn't let me have it. This thing takes time, guys. Right? That's the main point of today's stream. This thing takes time. It takes time. You can't dedicate to this for 30 minutes, right? You can't dedicate to this for 30 minutes and then hit the forums again. You can't dedicate to this for 30 minutes and think to yourself, well, I'm not 100% and I'm not out parachuting yet, so right back into fighting. You can't dedicate to this for a day and think, oh no, I got triggered again. It's been a whole 24 hours and I'm triggered again. This shit don't work. Right? You can't keep falling for it. You can't keep falling for it. Right? Nova, you picked the worst time to play with your squeaky toys. You can't keep falling for it. You cannot keep falling for it. I fell for it so many times. So many times. Oh, look at me. I had a week of an accepting attitude, but here I am a week later and I'm triggered. I'm going to fall right back into the same bad habits that got me here to begin with. You can't. You can't go at it this way. If you're going to dedicate to true acceptance, if you're going to dedicate to what we call the two main keys, which is living life and changing your attitude, okay, not fighting with those thoughts and feelings, and instead just taking as many step backs as you need and reminding yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings. If you're going to dedicate to that, there is no room. There is no room anywhere for a week later you're triggered and you fall right back into the same bad habits, right? Now, that doesn't mean if that happens that you're back at square one, but it does mean that you need to be aware that you're falling for the most common trap that there is. You're falling for the most common trap that there is. It doesn't feel like it's working. You got to understand something. You're going to be triggered. You're going to have days where you're triggered. You're going to have moments where you're triggered. This is not about escaping being triggered. You should not base your progress on whether or not it feels like it's working. That's an end goal. As you start to heal, it will feel like it's working. But in the moment, you do not base progress on whether or not you can make anxiety go away. That is not what this is about. This is about learning how to switch your attitude to one of acceptance so that when these thoughts and feelings are there, you can keep the attitude of, okay, I accept these thoughts and feelings to the best of my ability. I'm going to live my life instead of mentally fighting with them for hours on end. And if you do that, okay, and if you do that, you'll get the results. You'll get the healed nervous system. You'll get the progress. You'll get to see it firsthand. But this is not about whether or not you can make the anxiety go away in the moment, right? In the moment, it's about acceptance. In the moment, it's about the two main keys. The progress will come, the healing will come, but you cannot fall for the trap of, okay, I told myself that I accept these thoughts and feelings, but they're not going away. And then you fall right back into fighting. That makes no sense. That makes no sense, but I know how easy it is to fall for that trap. Do not fall for it. Do not fall for it. This is not about how quick can you make the feelings go away in the moment. This is about how can you accept, can you keep the accepting attitude, and can you keep it up, right? Now you don't have to be perfect at this to make progress. I always say that. You don't have to be perfect at this to make progress, but do not, okay, whatever you do not fall for the whole it doesn't feel like it's working thing. As long as you are accepting the thoughts and feelings to the best of your ability, which means you're not jumping up there mentally and trying to fight with these thoughts and feelings and telling yourself horror stories about them, right? As long as you're doing your best, you're going to see the progress. You're going to see the results. But just because in the moment it doesn't make them poof and go away, which is why we gave the whole fire analogy the other day, do not fall for the trap at that point. Do not fall for the trap of, oh, I guess this is not working, right back into the same old bad habits, because now you're like a hamster in a hamster wheel, right? So, you know, I know we pretty much already covered this as well as we're going to cover it with the whole fire analogy, but I felt like that kind of deserved a follow up in a way because that's just so crucially important. People get into the heat of the moment with the anxiety and they're taking their steps back and they're reminding themselves, I accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm just going to get on with my day the best of my ability. They start doing these things, which is great. That's a great start. But then, as quickly as they jump on the wagon, they fall off the wagon because they're not getting the instant results that they want, right? And it's such a common mistake to make. It's such a common mistake to make. And that's why I really felt like that whole fire analogy video, as perfect as it was, I feel like it needed a follow up because this is one of those points that really need to be drove home. This is one of those points that really need to be nailed into people's heads because, you know, if you're going to dedicate to acceptance, don't start convincing yourself, oh, because I can't make the anxiety poof away with the snap of my fingers, then I must be doing something wrong and then fall right back into the bad old habits. That makes no sense. This journey is about being anxious. It's about being triggered. The results will come in time. As long as you are no longer fighting with it all mentally as much as you used to be, then congrats, you're on the right track. As long as you're just living your life for you, right? And not fighting with it all mentally as much as you used to be. And you're doing your best to keep an attitude of, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Even if it doesn't feel like it's working right away, you're putting in that work and you're going to see the results. Don't fall right back into the bad old habits because you're not getting the snap of the fingers like you wish you could. I wish you could too. I wish you could do that too. But that's just not how it works, right? So like I said, I felt like that point needed to be drove home a bit more. I felt like that point needed to be drove home a bit more because it's just so fundamentally important, right? It's just so fundamentally important. So fundamentally important that you keep that accepting attitude even in the heat of the moment, right? Hey Wonder Bro, hey everyone, what's up Denise? How you guys doing today? So that was the point of today's stream, guys. Just kind of following up our last letting the fire burn out stream. Again, just such an important piece of information. I felt like it needed to be drove home. I'm going to switch over to post stream, but I've still got comments pulled up, so feel free to keep the comments coming. How's everybody in chat doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me get this pulled up on my end. All right, all right. Let's see here. Eclipse, I believe I've already told you hello. Were you here in here earlier, right? hello again, in case I'm just losing my mind, and that wasn't you. What's up, Foo? How you doing, dude? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. How's everybody in chat, man? You guys enjoying your day so far? See if there's any comments or any questions that I may have missed while I was ranting. I normally don't get around to the questions and stuff until after the main point of the stream. Don't tense up, loosen up, absolutely. Yesterday I was, but yes, you said hello already. All good, bro. My brain is so miswired. I was an anxious person from the moment I stepped out of the womb, pretty much. Thinking back to my childhood, I always had little traits and personality traits that I would consider to be traits of an anxious person, and I grew up being an anxious kid and an anxious person in general. I used to cry when people would look at me as a child. Like that's how bad it was. I kind of started to grow out of all this, but my main point is I don't care how long you've been in the anxiety boat, you can step out. Right, and if you fight with or entertain the thought of, oh gosh, I've been this way for so long, and it's going to be impossible for me because I've been this way for however long, then you're doing the thing we're telling you not to do, right? So drop the context of these thoughts being important. Remember the two keys: live your life. Stop fighting with all these thoughts and feelings. Just accept as they come, accept as they go, accept as they come back, accept as they peak, accept whatever happens with this anxiety, right? There's no more mentally jumping up into the mind and fighting with it all. If you do mentally jump up into the mind, it's only to give yourself a quick reminder: I accept these thoughts and feelings. I can handle these thoughts and feelings. Bring it on. It's fine. I'm okay, right? It's just it's just quick little, and you can pick whatever you want to say to yourself. I'm just throwing out random examples at this point. It's just quick little reminders to accept rather than get into hours worth of debate and fight with the thoughts and feelings. It's just quick little reminders to accept. I don't want you up in your head 24 hours a day, you know, trying to reassure yourself. I'm just saying I want you to, if you're going to jump up there, just jump up there quickly and give yourself a little reminder. I accept these thoughts and feelings. I expected these thoughts and feelings, and then come back into living. We got two main keys for a reason. Come back into living at that point, and then if you have to give yourself that quick little reminder 5 seconds later, so be it. So be it. You might have to give it to yourself a lot at first, but it's better than the alternative, which is hours worth of fighting mentally with it all, right? So it takes a little bit of work in that regard. Takes a little bit of work in that regard. I mean, there's nothing necessarily, I would say, quote unquote, wrong with wanting tension to go away. Of course, you want to be comfortable. Of course, recovery is the goal. That's always going to be, true. But at the same time, you don't really want to get into the attitude of, oh gosh, go away, go away, go away, go away, because then you're just stressing yourself out. Of course, in the back of your mind, you want to be comfortable, you want to heal. That's always going to be the goal. But you don't want to actively be forcing that mindset of go away, go away, go away all day long because you're just going to stress yourself out unnecessarily, right? It's just going to make you a bit more frustrated than you already are. You see what I'm getting at with that? It's just going to make you a bit more frustrated than you already are. I don't at the moment, Brian. I don't at the moment. But honestly, the same thing that I would tell you there is the same thing that I'm telling everyone here, right? Same thing. I'm not like holding out some like secret information or anything like that. I would never do that. I would never do that. But yeah, Denise, the end goal is always going to be recovery. The end goal is always going to be less anxiety. But in the moment, let's put the end goal in the back of our mind for a bit. In the moment, it needs to be about acceptance, right? So it's okay to have that end goal because obviously that's the end goal, right? But let's put it in the back of our mind for a second, and in the moment, let's accept what's happening instead of thinking so much on the end goal. The end goal will happen on its own, but in the moment, it needs to be a practice of acceptance, an accepting attitude, rather than one that's dumping gas on the fire, right? Which is basically just means fighting, mentally fighting with it all. Hello from the UK. I get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I've worked out through some of the worst feelings. When I do work out when anxious, I've noticed the strength is phenomenal. Right? Fight or flight, it pumps you up, dude. Fuels you. When anxiety is high, I do things like bouncing legs, plucking beard, cracking knuckles, twirling hair. Even if I try to stop doing that at some point, I start doing them unconsciously. Do you think those are compulsions too? Are they signs of fighting? I don't think they would be a make or break for you. These little ticks, I don't think they'd be a make or break for you as long as you have an accepting attitude. But if you want to be more conscious of them and cut them out, then you can do that. You can absolutely do that. You can be like icing on the cake, right? You're cutting out even small ticks. You're cutting out even small compulsions, which is something to be proud of. Do I think it would be a make or break? No, I don't think it would be a make or break as long as you've got the accepting attitude that's more dominant than the everything else, the fighting attitude. But if you want to try to become more conscious of those and cut those out, then sure. What you resist persists. I love it. I also like to say what you feed grows, and that's why we gave the whole fire analogy, right? So people think they're working with water when they mentally get up there and fight with the way that they feel and fight with the thoughts, but they're not working with water. They're actually working with gas. And until you learn about, what we talk about on here, you don't realize that. So this whole time you're throwing gas on the fire thinking you're doing yourself a favor, right? Oh, I'm being a fighter, right? But you're not working with water, you're working with gas. You're working with gas. So, and a lot of people don't realize that until they learn about this stuff, but that's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. Again, it's such an important point to drive home, and that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to keep driving it home. That just because it doesn't feel like it's working in the moment, that's not the point. Of course, there's going to be an end goal, but in the moment, it's about using the two main keys, even if it doesn't feel necessarily like it's working in the moment. That's fine. You're making progress whether it feels like it or not, as long as you're not fighting so much with these thoughts and feelings and you're just giving yourself little reminders like I accept these thoughts and feelings, right? Even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, you're thumbs up. Thumbs up. Even if it doesn't feel like you're making much progress in the moment, as long as you're practicing these two main keys, you are. You might not see that now, but you will start to see that. You will start to see that. Lost my appetite completely. If you're not eating anything, which means if you're literally not eating anything at all, you need to make yourself eat a little something because that can play somewhat of a part in just feeling lethargic and just feeling like you can't stand on your own 2 feet. Of course, because food is your body's energy. So even if it's just a little bit at first, even if you just eat a little bit, that's good. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. And like I said, this is not about making anxiety just poof in the moment. Just because you stop adding gas doesn't mean the fire immediately burns out. You got to become more aware of the way that you're speaking to yourself. Dr. Clear Weeks called it the correct inner voice. Now that doesn't mean that you jump up with the thoughts and start trying to fight the thoughts. It simply means the correct inner voice, as in I accept these thoughts and feelings. Short and sweet, baby. Short and sweet. That's all you need. And then keep living that life, right? It might not feel like you're doing much in the moment, but you still get a thumbs up because you're doing it. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's okay, Denise. Nobody's perfect. I say that a lot here on the channel. Nobody's perfect. That doesn't mean you're back at square one. It doesn't mean any of that. Nobody's perfect. At the end of the day, this is a practice. That's why Dr. Clear Weeks love the word practice. That's why I love the word practice, because it really is a practice. And just because you're not 100% perfect at it doesn't mean you're some sort of a failure or something like that. That's just nonsense of the mind, right? You should be proud of how far you have come, even if you're not um, living up to the impossible expectations that you've given yourself. You should be proud of how far you have come, right? Let's see. More spam calls. Gotta love to go through my spam calls that I missed while I was asleep. Hi, I'm calling from AT&T Direct. Hmm. I don't want you guys ever thinking that I was perfect at this. Nobody's perfect at this. This is a process. It's definitely a process. Definitely a process. And again, our main point today is that just because it doesn't feel like it's working in the moment, as long as you're keeping that accepting attitude, even if it doesn't feel like that's doing much, then you get a thumbs up. You get a pass, right? So, that's the thing. A lot of people judge. A lot of people judge whether or not it's quote unquote working by the way that they feel, which is totally wrong. You don't want to judge whether or not acceptance is working by the way that you feel. It's not about making the feelings or thoughts just poof away. What you want to understand is you are scoring. You are making baskets. As long as you are not mentally fighting as much with the thoughts and feelings, even if you feel like complete garbage, congrats. You're making progress. Do not judge whether or not you're making progress based on the way that you feel, because that makes no sense, right? The nervous system is in the process of healing, and you might feel like garbage sometimes, but as long as you're not mentally fighting as much with these thoughts and feelings and you're just living your life, then congrats, you're making progress, whether it feels like that in the moment or not. Don't let that sucker you back into the same old bad habits, right? And that was really the main point of today's stream, and that was the main point of the fire analogy that we gave. That was the main point of the fire analogy that we gave. Better person once you get through this, like you appreciate life a lot more, appreciate your health, respect your mind as power. Yeah, I mean, that's why I like to say it's good life advice. That's why I say that all the time. It's good life advice. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. It's worth it. Wonderbro, 9.92K subscribers, almost to that 10K. Almost, guys. We are so close. We are so close. If you're looking for a sign to subscribe, man, this is it. This is your sign right here. We are so close. I can taste it. Can you guys taste it? I can taste it. We are right around the corner. We are right around the corner. I have you guys to thank for that. So I have all of you guys to thank for that. But can everyone in chat comprehend what I'm saying? I want to make sure that I'm being as transparent on this topic as possible, because it's just so fundamentally important. We do not judge recovery by the way that we feel in the moment. Does everyone comprehend that? So if I start using the two main keys and I'm living my life to the best of my ability, and when thoughts and feelings are there, I'm just reminding myself as many times as need be, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Thanks for coming. But I still feel like garbage in the moment. Do I A, start to get worked up over it and fall back into the same old bad habits, or do I B, simply remind myself that it's not about the way that I feel in the moment. It's about sticking to the two main keys, and then I'll see the result in time. That's what it's about, right? Go with B. Go with B. It's about continuing on with the two main keys despite feeling like garbage, understanding that results will come in time. I do not base my progress on the way that I feel in the moment. I base my progress on whether or not I'm using the two main keys, which is live your life and remind yourself as many times as need be when those thoughts and feelings are there that you accept them and that you're not going to fight with them, right? That's what you base your progress on, whether or not you're doing that. You don't base your progress on the way that you feel in the moment, because if you start basing your progress on the way that you feel in the moment, you're going to drop doing the two main keys and go right back to the same old bad habits. And then the results that you would have had arrive in the future are going to be a bit delayed because of that choice. So never, ever, ever base your progress on the way that you feel in the moment. Never, ever, ever base your progress on the way that you feel in the moment. You need to base your progress on whether or not you're using the two main keys. That's what you need to base your progress on, which again is live your life and remind yourself as many times as need be, I accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm not going to fight with these thoughts and feelings. Even if you have to remind yourself of that a lot at first because you keep falling back in the bad habits, that's fine. It takes a bit of dedication. But again, I'm going to say it one last time, and I'll probably say it again before the stream ends, whenever that might be. Never ever base your progress off what you feel in the moment. Base your progress off whether or not you're using the two main keys, which is live your life and remind yourself as many times as need be when those thoughts and feelings are there. I accept. I accept, I accept, I accept. Instead of mentally, oh God, oh God, oh God, blah, 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 blah. Right? I've had a really bad couple nights regarding sleep. The pressure to sleep is something that's kind of self-imposed, right? So we put this pressure on ourselves to get to sleep immediately, which is just more pressure, 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 stress, 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 second fear, second fear, second fear. You could even try to do like a paradox here. You can even try to be paradoxical about it. So when you lay down to sleep and you can't sleep, just be like, thank you, thank you. Okay, it's fine that I can't sleep. All right, I don't care, right? Right? So you could even be paradoxical about it and watch how that kind of takes the edge off. Watch how that kind of takes the stress and strain off, because if you're telling your brain, okay, you need to be upset, brain, because we can't sleep. You see how frustrated I am about it? You need to be frustrated about it too. Then the brain starts to get worked up too. Then the body starts to follow, right? So if you try to go about it in a totally opposite manner, which is, okay, I can't sleep, that's fine. Thank you for that, right? And you hold on to that attitude and you try to keep that attitude to the best of your ability. Watch how this just works, right? There's really no other way to say that. Watch how this just works. Watch the power of being in the opposite of a fighting manner works, right? It's crazy how it works. But you got to practice that. That's something you got to practice. So my brain screams, I'm feeling terrible, do something right now, okay? And in that moment, you got to take a step back and you got to say, no, I accept this. And then if the moment says, this is terrible, the brain says, this is terrible, 5 seconds later, you got to take a step back again. And you got to say, I'm doing it again. I'm fueling the brain again. I'm going to switch to, I accept these thoughts and feelings. You see how you got to put in that work? You got to put in that work. You can't point the fingers, right? You can't start passing the blame onto the brain. The brain is going to brain whether we like it or not. But if you're not taking those conscious steps back and catching yourself fueling that, and instead reminding yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings. If you're not putting in that work, we can't go pointing fingers, right? We can't go pointing fingers. We got to look in the mirror. So, I know the brain feels like it's working against you, but if you're not making the conscious effort to take as many step backs as need be when you notice that you're fueling the negative thoughts, and instead saying, okay, I'm going to accept these thoughts and feelings and then get on with your life, and then maybe you got to rinse and repeat that 5 seconds later, but still yet, that's why, it takes a bit of work, a bit of practice. But if you're not doing that, if you're not making that effort, right, you can't go pointing the fingers at the brain. You can't pass the blame all onto the brain, right? So I know it feels like a lot of work at first, but trust me, it gets easier and easier. It's not, over time, it's not something you're going to have to do every 5 seconds. Um, that's just an example, but it does get easier and easier to do as you practice it. But I think you get my point, right? I think you get my point. I like watching Nova on the camera because she's unaware that I can see her. Here, come this way. Come this way. Come this way. Uh, uh. Thank you. Thank you. So, at first, dude, it's gonna feel like a lot of work, but it doesn't feel like work over time. Does that make sense? At first, it's gonna feel like a lot of work, especially if you're just starting out or whatever, but in time, it's gonna feel a lot less like work and more like a habit that just comes naturally. You just dropped your toy, Nova. What are you gonna do? What you gonna do now? You dropped it right in my lap. You know what we need, chat? You know what we need? I think it's that time. I think it's that time, chat. It's gonna be a little dark in here until I get this going. But we need some tunes. We need some tunes. Well, understand something. Again, I think you're coming at it with the mindset of, if I don't make this through the roof anxiety go away, then I'm not doing accepting right. Again, that's totally wrong. You're using acceptance like a pill, right? It's not about making the totally through the roof anxiety go away. That's going to happen on its own. What it's about is just keeping the attitude of, okay, it's through the roof. I don't necessarily have to like this, but I'm trying to keep the mindset of, I accept these thoughts and feelings, right? Instead of mentally fighting with it as much. Because again, it's not about being perfect. So, if you're coming at it with a mindset of, I'm only doing this right if I make the through the roof anxiety go away, then you're treating acceptance like a pill. And you're not scoring points by making the anxiety go away. So don't put yourself up to that impossible task. Oh, I only make progress if I make the anxiety go away. No, you're making progress as long as you're doing your best to keep the attitude of, okay, I accept these thoughts and feelings, right? As long as you try to stay moderately in that attitude, even though you feel like garbage, even though you're kind of, or a lot freaked out, right? As long as you're doing your best to not mentally start fighting with the thoughts and feelings, and instead you're just taking step backs and reminding yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings. As long as you're doing that, thumbs up. So don't come at it with an attitude of treating acceptance like a pill, right? Don't come at it with that attitude. I did that personally for a long time. Like I treated using acceptance like a pill, and that's why I really didn't get far for a while. Because I was like, well, crap, I'm using acceptance now, go away. And it doesn't work like that. It's I'm using acceptance, and I'm just going to keep the attitude of whatever comes, comes. I'm going to accept these thoughts and feelings. I'm going to catch myself mentally fighting with them, and then take a step back and say, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to accept these thoughts and feelings, get on with my life, right? That's how you make true progress. That's where you'll start to make true progress, and you'll start to see you'll start to see your efforts pay off, right? In time you'll start to see your efforts pay off. It'll take the edge off in the moment sometimes. It's a lot easier to live life with this attitude, so it will take the edge off rather quickly. But as far as the real progress goes, the real look at what you've done, that'll come usually in time, right? So if you're using acceptance like a pill, I would cut that out. And when you do experience these waves of anxiety, as long as you keep that accepting attitude to the best of your ability and are living your life, then you can give yourself a pat on the back. You can give yourself a pat on the back, right? So don't base your progress off whether or not anxiety has poofed away in the moment. Base your progress off whether or not you're practicing your accepting attitude. Which again will take the edge off 9 times out of 10. Like it'll take the edge off, but the true healing is gonna, it happens more over time. But that doesn't mean that you can't have a terrible day that turns into a great day. You absolutely can. Sometimes you can see the your efforts paying off rather quickly, and that's okay. But even if you don't, you keep the same attitude, right? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter either way. Hello, Wonder Brown family. What's up, Gina? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a great day. Guys, if you want to join us over on the Discord, If you want to join us over on the Discord, I'm going to drop that link. We talked the other day about how the thoughts and feelings are not your true source of suffering anyway. The true source of suffering is that fight. I'm telling you, that's what's wearing you out, dude. That's what's stressing you out. That's what's making you suffer. You know, you guys might think it's the thoughts and feelings, but Denise, Denise coming through, making it rain with the $40 tip. Says thanks as always for sharing the wisdom. Thank you so much, Denise, for single-handedly breaking the tip goal. For those of you who are not aware, the tip goal is now up here. I know you guys are used to seeing it down here, but it is now up above my head, and this little jar fills up with I don't know what it fills up with. It fills up with something as we get tips, but everything's kind of been rearranged, but I think it's for the best. Anyway, can we get a shout out in chat to Denise, please? Thank you so much, Denise. Single-handedly hitting the tip goal. Thanks as always. Hey, I appreciate you, Denise. Thank you so much for that $40 tip. Let's give a shout out to Denise in chat, guys. Let's give a shout out in chat to Denise. Love you, Wonder Bro. You're awesome. I hope to get to recovery like you one day. Well, you know, instead of hoping for it, just understand that as you switch to this accepting attitude, which means the two main keys, which means live your life and stop fighting as much with these thoughts and feelings. Just remind yourself as many times need be, I accept these thoughts and feelings. As you're practicing this, Brian, understand that you are taking steps, massive steps, towards recovery. Even if you still feel like garbage at times, you are taking massive steps towards recovery. You'll see that relief sooner than you think, right? So don't hope for it. Just know that it's coming as you do this, right? Don't hope for it. Just know that it's coming as you do this. Somehow old habits get in the way. Old habits do get in the way, dude, and that's why we call this a practice. That's why we call this a practice. Old habits die hard. Have you ever heard that? That's a real, that's a timeless quote there. Old habits die hard, and it's true. But as long as you're practicing the two keys, as long as you're living your life, and every time that you need to take a step back and remind yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings, and then get right back into living, then congrats. You're taking massive steps. Even if it doesn't feel like it, you're taking massive steps. No, thank you. I appreciate you, Denise. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's try to find a more upbeat song here. There we go. I do appreciate you, chat, for stepping in and shouting out our tippers. It means a lot to me when you guys do that. We should always be grateful for our tippers. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this on a consistent, almost daily basis. So we should always be extremely grateful for our tippers. They really keep the ship afloat here. So I do appreciate them, and everybody in chat should appreciate them as well. Can't do it without the tippers keeping us afloat here. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I would still do the channel regardless, but I wouldn't have as much time to do daily streams or do it as consistently as I do it if it wasn't for the tippers helping me survive with with what they do. So we should always be extremely grateful for them. Oh, I meant to download a new font for that up there, and I never did that. I need to do that. But yeah, dude, old habits die hard. That's an old timeless quote, and it's so true, even with anxiety. Old habits do die hard, and that's what I mean. When I say take a step back, that's what I'm referring to. Catching yourself mentally fighting with the thoughts and feelings, taking a step back and say, yo, you're doing it again. I'm going to switch to an accepting attitude. I accept these thoughts and feelings, and then get right back into living, and you might have to do that 5 seconds later, especially if you're just starting. That's fine, right? That's fine. So, old habits do die hard. I don't like the slow songs that they've got in this playlist. I'm trying to get the volume adjusted. Some songs are louder than others. Thanks, Denise. Yes, thank you, Denise. Where are we sitting at exactly on the subscribers, guys? Let's see. Brian, thank you so much for the $10 tip, dude. I will update that in just a second. Shout out to Brian in chat, guys. Brian, thank you, thank you. We are at 9,914. We are officially less than 100 subscribers away from that 10K mark, guys. Oof, so close. If you're looking for a sign, I know I keep saying it, but if you're looking for a sign to subscribe, this is it. Hey, shout out to Denise, shout out to Brian. Thank you guys so much. Let's give a little round of applause in the chat to Brian, guys. Thank you, Brian. I do appreciate it so much. I love what I do, and you guys help me continue to do what I do on a consistent basis. So, shout out, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You guys keep me from having to go back to frying fish. Fun fact, if you didn't know that, that was where I used to work before I worked doing streaming. So, you guys keep me from having to go back to frying fish, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Need emergency advice, had to stop and pull over from driving, going through anxiety attack. Advice, please, scared to get behind the wheel. To get home 4 miles away, I want to conquer this too hard. Well, so understand, so something you need to understand, this is a perfect moment to understand it. When we adopt the mindset of, oh my gosh, this is an emergency, I'm going through anxiety, I need advice, bad, understand something. Understand something, dude. That is your second fear right there. So in this moment, let's take a step back. Instead of saying things like, this is an emergency, I need advice bad, help me, let's take a deep breath and let's switch from that attitude of this is an emergency, because that just tells the brain, hey, emergency. Let's switch from that attitude to, okay, I feel very strong feelings right now. I accept them. I'm having all these thoughts right now. I accept them too. And let's gently step our way into this new attitude. So we're switching from an attitude of emergency. We can see it in the way that you're wording things, right? Let's switch that. Let's gently take a step back and let's notice that. Do you see how you notice? Are you noticing how your vocabulary is changing mentally? It's starting to change to this emergency type of vocabulary. Instead, let's take a step back. This is a perfect opportunity to take a step back and say, you know what? I'm experiencing strong feelings. I accept them. I don't have to like them, but I'm accepting them to the best of my ability. This is okay. Same thing with the thoughts. Same thing with any intrusive negative thoughts that you may be experiencing right now. I accept these thoughts. Thank you for coming. I accept these feelings. Thank you for coming. Right? So we see how we're switching from an attitude of emergency, give me advice now, help, which I'm not trying to throw you under the bus. I completely understand. I used to be the same way. But we're switching from that attitude, and we're gently going to transition into an attitude of, I'm experiencing strong feelings, I accept them. I'm experiencing negative intrusive thoughts, I accept them. Okay, so we're taking the step back, and this is a perfect example of when I say, you know, what I mean when I say take a step back. We're taking a step back and we're noticing how we're fueling the fire. Okay, there I am. I'm doing it. I'm gassing this thing. I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to remind myself, it's okay to feel these thoughts and feelings. I accept these thoughts and feelings. You can use whatever accepting reminder or mantra or whatever you want to call it. You can use whatever you want. I used to use, I accept these thoughts and feelings. It's okay to have these thoughts and feelings. That's another popular one that a lot of people like. It's okay to have these thoughts and feelings. And we're just going to meditate on that for a minute. We're just going to take that and we're just going to internalize that. It's okay to have these thoughts and feelings. And then I'm going to gently get right back into my life, right? Okay? And then I might have negative intrusive thoughts knocking at my door 5 seconds later. I might have the feelings still there. They might still be lingering around. That's okay. If I notice myself start to mentally get up in my head and think to myself, oh, this is an emergency. If I start to do that again, that's okay. I'm going to take another step back. I'm going to take another step back and I'm going to remind myself, okay, there I go again, but hold on. There I go again with the whole emergency thing, but hold on. Instead of doing that, I'm just going to remind myself again, even though I was just here 5 seconds ago, I'm going to remind myself again, it's okay to have these thoughts and feelings. It's fine to have these thoughts and feelings, right? And then I get right back into life again. 10 seconds later, I might repeat that. But you see how we're catching ourselves dumping gas on the fire, and instead we're taking a whole new attitude? You see how we're doing that? You see how we're catching ourselves and we're taking that step back? That's what I mean by taking a step back. You see how we're doing that? You see how we're catching ourselves again and again and again? You see how we're doing that, right? So catch yourself again and again and again. Catch yourself again and again and again. And we're practicing a new attitude of acceptance. Now, this might not feel like you're being real with yourself at first. This might not feel like it's working at first, but it is. You're making major progress the more you do this. You're making major progress the more you do this. So that's exactly what I mean by taking a step back. That's exactly what I mean by a continuous effort to practice the accepting attitude with the inner voice, with the mindset. That's what Dr. Claire Weeks means by the correct inner voice. You take a step back as many times as you need to take a step back when you notice that you're gassing the fire, right? And instead saying, okay, I'm not going to gas the fire anymore with words like emergency or blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to remind myself it's okay to feel these thoughts and feelings. Now, that might not make them poof away immediately, but that's not your goal. Your goal is to continue just practicing that mindset. Okay, the feelings and thoughts will take care of themselves, but your goal is to just keep practicing that mindset, that attitude. The goal is to not make them poof away immediately. The goal is just to continue practicing that new shift, that new lifestyle change, right? That's the goal. And as long as you're practicing that, you're doing good. Thumbs up, right? And you're going to see the results of that. You're going to eventually see the results of that. All right, guys, I'm going to switch over to post-stream real quick. So how you doing now, Henry? How you doing after your little pep talk there? We got you right back on board. You might have to catch yourself, even here in just a bit, you know. You might have to catch yourself adding gas on the fire and repeat what I said, which is, okay, I'm okay with these thoughts and feelings. It's okay to feel these thoughts and feelings, right? You might have to rinse and repeat that, and that's fine. I say rinse and repeat quite a bit here because it's true. It's true, man. You got to be your own best friend here. You gotta be your own best friend here. You gotta catch yourself pouring that gas on the fire, dude. And immediately you gotta take that step back and remind yourself it's okay to feel these thoughts and feelings. And you might have to rinse and repeat that 4 seconds later. That's fine. You're practicing this new accepting attitude. Be proud of yourself, right? You're capable of much more than you think you are. And it starts with practicing this new attitude. It all begins with practicing this new attitude. And it might not feel like it in the moment, but you're making progress as long as you're doing that, right? And that was the point of today's stream. Everybody's here for everybody, man. That's why I love this community. Everybody's here for everybody, and everybody's been through the same shit. So you're gonna make it out just fine. What's the song? I can try to check for you when I get back to my setup, but I'm not exactly sure. It's like a copyright-free playlist. It's like an hour or something, an hour worth of like copyright-free music and beats. It's lo-fi. That's as much as I know right now. Some sort of lo-fi. not a bad thing, Henry, and I don't want you to see it as a bad thing. I want you to see it as an opportunity. You see how we're constantly making that shift in attitude? That's going to make all the difference. It's going to make all the difference for you. It's going to make all the difference in the world for you. Mind, guys, an accepting attitude is not about the denial of the feelings and thoughts. It's about accepting them. Sometimes people think acceptance means denial. Accepting means exactly what you think it means, which is acceptance. Unless you think it means denial, then it doesn't mean what you think it means. But you get what I'm saying. You're catching yourself fighting with the thoughts and feelings, which that in itself is resistance or denial or whatever you want to call it. And you're taking as many steps back as you need and switching that attitude up with a simple statement like, it's okay to feel these thoughts and feelings, and then getting right back to the task at hand, right? And you might have to rinse and repeat that, and that's fine. That's fine. Even if I get desensitized, I feel like there's no way I can be the easygoing, relaxed dude I once was after going through something like that. No way. So you see, I mean, you're doing it now, right? You are gassing the negative mind up right now as we speak. You're doing it now, and you're not even aware that you're doing it. Let's take a step back. Let's retract that statement, and let's say, you know what, it's okay to feel these thoughts and feelings, and then get on with life. Right there. So that's a perfect example. I'm glad you made that comment so I can call you out on it. So I can call you out on it. That's a perfect example of what it means to have a thought, oh, I'll never get back to who I was, and then you gas it. Instead of taking a step back and saying, okay, I accept that thought, I accept these feelings, and not giving it more importance than it deserves, right? Perfect example. I'm glad you made that comment so I could point you out on it. I always take advantage of comments like that. I always take advantage when I see comments like that, because it's a perfect learning opportunity. It's a perfect learning opportunity. So if you were to gas that thought, you know, and you might just gas it a little bit, but if you were to gas it a lot, that's going to lead to not feeling so hot. You're going to put unnecessary negative emotion on yourself when you do that, right? Instead, just accept that it came, but don't give it more importance than it deserves. It's all the same, right? Drank too much yesterday and now paying the price for it. Hangover makes anxiety much worse. Oh, you drank yesterday. Okay. Okay. I see you. I see you. I'm in the middle of a panic attack. Feels like a heart attack. Severe chest pain. So again, there's another example. Somebody in the comments like gassing themselves up. You need to take a step back. You're not using the advice, right? And that's okay, because nobody's perfect. But you need to take a step back in this moment and remind yourself it's okay to have these thoughts and feelings, and then get on with your life. And in 5 seconds from now, you got to remind yourself again. Maybe you had to have a constant reminder at first. I'm okay with these thoughts and feelings. I'm going to be okay with these thoughts and feelings. I accept these thoughts and feelings. See, we're switching the game up. We're switching the attitude. And you need to be productive on this. You need to take a charge on this. You've got to implement this. You know, you can't just hear me talk about it. You got to do it, right? So perfect opportunities for a lot of people in chat today. Perfect opportunities to actually implement what you've been learning with that switch in attitude. And it starts with that statement. I'm okay with these thoughts and feelings, right? So a lot of good opportunities today in chat. Not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all. Alright guys, I'll be right back. Give me like 2 seconds. Alright, chat. I am back. We gotta get this depressing, slow-ass music off here. This playlist has so many good songs, but some of them are just too slow, man. Let's see here. Oh, that was an ad. Oops. Oops. It's gonna be pitch dark in here for a second, guys. Alright, let me find a good song. Do distraction techniques form part of acceptance when dealing with anxiety? I don't like the word distraction because that kind of implies not accepting. So, we were talking about the word ignore the other day, and I don't like that word either because it puts people in a mindset of don't accept, just try to escape. Which is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to live our lives, yes, which some people see as ignore or distract, but I just don't like the terms ignore or distract because that kind of eliminates the whole acceptance part of the equation. I mean, you can use the terms ignore and distract if you want to, as long as you're keeping an attitude of acceptance, but I just don't like the terms in general. I just like to stick with the two main keys. Live your life, and when thoughts and feelings come, just take a step back if you notice that you're dumping gas on the fire, and remind yourself, I'm okay with feeling these thoughts and feelings. It's okay to feel these thoughts and feelings. And then get on with your life. And you might have to rinse and repeat that. I like to keep it that simple. I don't like to use terms like ignore, distract, because that kind of implies that you're trying to deny the feelings, which is not what we're trying to do. But it's all just terms, right? What about the more persistent 24/7 symptoms if we're going through a flare, dizziness feeling when it's there all day and night? Honestly, dude, I think you said that you weren't eating for like a week, right? You should probably try to eat a little bit. That might help you with getting a little bit more of your energy back. But otherwise, the more persistent symptoms, it's the same concept. Same concept. It doesn't change. You know, the practice doesn't change, right? It doesn't change whether the symptoms are more persistent or, you know, whatever the case may be. It doesn't really change the approach. It doesn't really change the approach, even if they are more persistent. All right, let's check in. Let's check in with everybody. Henry, are you still here, dude? No, another ad that quick, dude? I have not caught any of the ads today, which means later I'll get 1,000 emails about how my stream had copyrighted content in it. I won't get a strike, but whatever. I'll just get a bunch of emails saying that. My stream is now, all the proceeds of my stream now goes to the copyright holders. I don't even have ads turned on, so it's not like it matters, but basically I'll just get a million emails telling me that if I monetize this stream, it's all gonna go to the people in the ads. What's up, Sanchez? Popping back in. What's up, dude? Hope you're having a good day, my man. I can't help you out. If you don't. Is there a reason why the ads are not on? They're not on currently, and they probably won't be until the channel grows a significant amount more, because it's just not worth bothering people with the ads right now for the very small amount of monetization that would come from it. It's not worth bothering people with ads at the moment. Maybe in the future, when the ads would actually make that big of a difference, then I'll turn them on. But for now, it's just not worth bothering people with them.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus. I can't forget.
Henry's probably busy driving at the moment. Feeling super tired, exhausted. I mean, that's all very, very run-of-the-mill when dealing with this. All very common. I know it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it's all very, very common. I remember feeling so exhausted most of the time. So exhausted. I just need to clear my... Alright guys, we're about an hour into this, or we're a little over an hour into this. So we're going to go ahead and shut it down here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. We just passed that 1 hour mark. I appreciate you guys for watching. I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything that you do. We are so close to that 10K mark. So if you're thinking about subscribing, this is your sign. Alright, you guys? And if you like the streams, make sure you leave a like. It really does help the channel grow. But I will see you guys very, very soon. I love ya, and until next time, as always,